2 months after my daughter's wedding, the photographer called me and whispered, "Preston, I noticed something terrible in the photos. Come immediately alone and don't say anything to Sierra." I'm Preston Walsh, 62 years old, and that call changed everything. Let me back up a bit so you understand what I was dealing with. I've been running Walsh Construction here in Scottsdale for 35 years now. Built it from nothing after I got out of the Army back in '85. 22 years of service, started as an 18-year-old kid who didn't know a hammer from a wrench, retired as a master sergeant who could build anything. The military taught me discipline, honor, and how to spot a liar from a mile away. Guess I forgot that last part when it came to my own family. My wife Linda passed 8 years ago. Cancer took her fast, and suddenly I was alone with 2 grown daughters who I thought I'd raised right. Linda always said, "Preston, make sure they understand the value of hard work and honest living." She had this way of seeing through people's nonsense that I admired. Always wished I'd inherited more of that gift. The construction business had been good to us, not rich, but comfortable. 3 steady crews, mostly residential work, some commercial projects. I'd built our reputation one honest job at a time. Linda used to joke that I was too stubborn to fail and too honest to get rich quick. She wasn't wrong. After she died, things changed with the girls. Sierra, my eldest at 35, had always been ambitious. Marketing executive, sharp as a tack, lived in a nice apartment in Scottsdale. Married Shane Rodriguez 2 months ago, in what I thought was the wedding of the century. Shane seemed like a solid guy. Investment banker, well-spoken, treated Sierra right. At least that's what I thought. Brooke, my younger daughter at 33, had been a different story since her divorce 3 years ago. Moved back into my house with her boyfriend Colton Martinez, supposedly just temporarily while she got back on her feet. Colton was 40 years old, jumping from one odd job to another, always had some new scheme to make money quick. The kind of guy who'd rather talk about working than actually work. That Tuesday morning when Paige Williams called, I was sitting in my home office going through project bids, coffee getting cold while I tried to figure out which jobs would keep my crews busy through the fall. It was one of those peaceful Arizona mornings, desert quiet, the kind Linda and I used to enjoy together on the back patio. Paige had been our family photographer for 15 years. She'd captured Linda's 50th birthday party, both girls' high school graduations, Sierra's college graduation, even Linda's last Christmas before she got sick. When Sierra got engaged, there was never a question who'd photograph the wedding. "What's wrong, Paige?" I asked when I heard the trembling in her voice. "I can't explain over the phone, Preston, but I found something in the wedding photographs, something very serious." The way she said it made my stomach drop. "What kind of something? Please, just come to my studio, downtown, and Preston, don't tell Sierra about this call." After she hung up, I sat there staring at the family photo on my desk. Sierra and Brooke as kids, maybe 8 and 6 years old, gap-toothed grins, Linda's arms around both of them. Simpler times when the biggest family crisis was scraped knees or forgotten homework. The drive to Paige's studio took 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. I kept thinking about Sierra's wedding day 2 months ago. She'd looked radiant in that white dress, the one that cost more than my first truck. Shane had seemed nervous but happy, kept checking his watch like he couldn't wait to make it official. I'd written check after check for that celebration. $50,000 total when all was said and done. Venue at that fancy resort in Paradise Valley, flowers that cost more than most people's cars, a band that flew in from Los Angeles. Sierra had insisted on every detail being perfect. The one thing she'd been specific about was the gifts. "Dad, we don't need china or toasters. We're starting fresh. We need flexibility. Ask everyone for cash." Made sense at the time. Young couple, new life together, cash would give them options. The gift table had been overflowing with envelopes by the end of the reception. Sierra told me later they'd collected $40,000. "We're so blessed," she'd said, that brilliant smile lighting up her face. Everyone was so generous. Looking back now, I should have paid more attention to the details. Should have noticed how Shane kept checking his phone during the reception. Should have wondered why some of Sierra's college friends seemed surprised she was getting married at all. Should have trusted the instincts Linda always said the Army had sharpened in me. But I didn't. I was too busy being the proud father, too caught up in seeing my eldest daughter happy, too focused on believing everything was exactly what it appeared to be. Paige's studio was in a converted warehouse in the Arts District, her name on a brass plate beside the door. I'd been there before for family portraits, but something felt different this time. The air seemed heavier somehow. As I followed her through the gallery, past all those happy family portraits and wedding photos, I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever she was about to show me would change everything. The army had taught me to trust my gut, and my gut was telling me this wasn't going to be good news. I just had no idea how bad it was going to be. The editing room was dominated by a large monitor and computer equipment. Wedding portfolios lined the shelves, and morning light filtered through a dusty window overlooking the alley. Paige gestured to a chair behind her computer setup. "Can I get you coffee? Water? Just show me what you found." She nodded and sat at her keyboard. I remained standing, arms crossed, trying to prepare myself for whatever was coming. "Preston, I want you to understand, I didn't go looking for this. I was doing routine editing, organizing the final album for you and Sierra." Her fingers moved across the keyboard. "These are the standard ceremony shots. What everyone saw at the wedding. The monitor filled with beautiful images. Sierra walking down the aisle, that radiant smile I remembered. Shane waiting at the altar, looking sharp in his rented tux. Guests smiling, my business partner Marcus wiping away a tear, Brooke actually looking happy for once. Everything perfect. "The ceremony was at 4 p.m., Paige continued. "But I always arrive early to test equipment, check lighting, scout angles. Professional habit, you know?" She clicked to another folder. "I got to the resort around 1 p.m. There's that terrace on the second floor that overlooks the courtyard where the ceremony would be. Great spot for atmospheric shots." My mouth went dry. Something in her tone told me this was it. I was adjusting camera settings, testing exposures through different windows. That's when I accidentally captured this. The image that appeared on screen hit me like a punch to the gut. Shane, my son-in-law, in his wedding tuxedo, shirt not yet buttoned properly, pressed against a woman with long red hair who definitely wasn't my daughter. They were kissing like their lives depended on it, his hands tangled in her hair, her arms wrapped around his neck. This wasn't some friendly goodbye or congratulations hug. This was intimate, passionate, familiar. "Jesus Christ," I whispered. "I have the exact timestamp here," Paige said softly, pulling up technical data. 1:47 p.m. 2 hours and 13 minutes before Shane married your daughter. I leaned closer to the screen, studying the woman's face. Mid-30s, attractive, well-dressed. But what caught my attention was her left hand, clearly visible as it pressed against Shane's chest. Wedding ring, gold band with a substantial diamond. Who is she? I don't recognize her from the guest list. I've been going through every photo from that day. She's not in any of the ceremony or reception shots. She wasn't at the wedding. Paige clicked forward to another image. Same scene, different angle. Shane's face was clearly visible this time, and what I saw there made my blood run cold. No guilt, no panic, no drunken confusion, just confidence, control. The face of a man who knew exactly what he was doing. "There are 7 photos total," she said, all taken within a 3-minute window. The metadata is ironclad. Date, time, GPS coordinates, everything. She showed me the technical documentation. Digital fingerprints that would hold up in any court. This wasn't some misunderstanding or innocent moment captured out of context. This was Shane Rodriguez cheating on my daughter 2 hours before their wedding ceremony. "Paige, I need copies of everything." She pulled out a flash drive from her desk drawer. Already prepared. All the photos, all the metadata, technical verification. I made multiple backups. I took the drive, feeling its weight in my palm. Such a small thing to hold such devastating information. "You did the right thing calling me." I kept going back and forth. Part of me thought maybe I should mind my own business. But if I were in your position, she shook her head. I'd want to know. The drive home passed in a blur. My mind kept circling back to one question. Why? Why marry Sierra at all if he was involved with someone else? Why go through with a $50,000 wedding? Why smile in those photos and collect $40,000 in cash gifts from friends and family? Unless the marriage wasn't about love. Unless it was about something else entirely. I pulled into my driveway around noon. The house looked the same as when I'd left 2 hours ago. Same desert landscaping, same red tile roof, same everything. But I felt like I was seeing it through different eyes. Inside, I could hear the TV blaring from the living room. Brooke's laugh carried from somewhere upstairs, probably on another phone call. Normal Tuesday sounds in a house that suddenly didn't feel normal anymore. I went straight to my office and closed the door. pulled up my laptop and inserted Paige's flash drive. The photos appeared on my screen, just as devastating as they'd been in her studio. But this time, I started looking at details I'd missed before. The woman's clothing, expensive, professional, her posture, comfortable, familiar with Shane, the way they held each other. This wasn't a new relationship. I opened my filing cabinet and pulled out the wedding folder, venue contracts, catering receipts, flower arrangements, band booking, $50,000 in total expenses. Then I found what I was looking for, the guest list Sierra had given me weeks before the wedding. 200 names. I went through every single one, looking for red-haired women, looking for anyone who might match the face in those photos. Nothing. Whoever this woman was, she hadn't been invited to the wedding. But she'd been at the venue, 2 hours before the ceremony, kissing the groom. I leaned back in my chair and tried to think like the old soldier I used to be. In the army, when something didn't add up, you gathered intelligence. You asked questions. You followed the money. The money. That's what kept bothering me about this whole situation. Shane was an investment banker, made decent money. Sierra had her marketing job. They weren't struggling financially. So why the emphasis on cash gifts? Why the specific request for no registry, no traditional wedding presents? I pulled up my banking website and searched for the wedding gift check I'd written. $20,000 made out to Shane and Sierra Rodriguez. Joint account. When had they opened that account? The details showed it had been deposited on July 18th. The wedding was July 15th. So they'd opened the account just before the wedding, specifically to receive gift money. My phone rang. Brooke's voice carried down from upstairs, loud as always. "Yeah, he seems a little off today. I don't know, maybe work stress or something." I could hear another voice through her phone speaker, but couldn't make out the words. "Don't worry about it," Brooke continued. "You know how he is. He'll get over whatever's bothering him. He always does." The casual dismissal in her tone hit me wrong. Like my feelings didn't matter. Like I was just some predictable old man who'd get cranky sometimes but always come around. Maybe it was time to stop being so predictable. That evening, I decided to dig deeper. After 22 years in the Army and 35 years running a business, I'd learned that when something smells wrong, you don't ignore it. You investigate. I called my bank first thing Wednesday morning. Patricia Hernandez had been managing my business accounts for almost 20 years. If anyone could help me trace the financial details, it was her. "Preston, good to hear from you. How can I help?" "Patricia, I need to verify a wedding gift check I wrote. $20,000 to Sierra and Shane. I want to make sure it cleared properly and maybe get some details about their account. Let me pull that up." I could hear her typing. "Here it is. Joint account for Shane and Sierra Rodriguez. Check cleared without any issues." "When did they open that joint account?" More typing. "Looks like June 20th. About a month before your daughter's wedding." June 20th. Not when they got engaged 18 months ago. Not when they started planning the wedding. 1 month before the ceremony. Just long enough to establish the account and get checks printed before the big day. "Patricia, is that normal? Opening a joint account so close to the wedding?" "Well, every couple's different. But usually we see accounts opened when people get engaged or start living together. Opening one just before the wedding." She paused. "It's not unheard of, but it's not typical either." After I hung up, I sat in my office staring at the timeline I'd written on a legal pad. Engagement. January of last year. Wedding planning starts, March. Joint account opened, June 20th. Wedding, July 15th. They'd been engaged for over a year, but waited until the last month to open a joint account specifically for wedding gifts. That wasn't romance. That was logistics. Around lunchtime, my doorbell rang. Sierra stood on my front step looking polished as always in her business attire. She kissed my cheek and walked past me into the house like she owned the place. "Hi, Daddy. I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop by." Her Scottsdale office was 25 minutes away. This wasn't exactly the neighborhood, but I'd learned over the years not to challenge Sierra when she was in one of her determined moods. She settled onto my couch and looked around the living room with that appraising expression she got sometimes, like she was calculating square footage and property values. "How are you feeling? You look tired. Just busy with work. You know how it is." She picked up the family photo from my side table. Her, Brooke, and Linda from years ago when life was simpler. studied it for a moment, then set it back down slightly off-center. Shane and I have been house hunting. Here we go, I thought. We found the most incredible place in Paradise Valley. 4 bedrooms, pool, mountain views. It's absolutely perfect for starting our family. Starting their family. Sierra had never mentioned wanting kids before. The thing is, Dad, we need to move quickly. The market's so competitive right now. We need help with the down payment. That practiced smile appeared. $30,000. I know it sounds like a lot, but after everything you spent on the wedding, this is really just completing the picture, helping us build the life you always wanted for me. $30,000 delivered like she was asking to borrow my car. Let me think about it, sweetheart. Her smile faltered for just a second. Think about it. Dad, this is important. Shane and I, we need to move on this opportunity. I understand. I just need to review some things first. She stood abruptly, grabbed her purse. Fine, but don't take too long. We can't lose this house because you're being indecisive. The accusation stung. Indecisive. After 22 years of military service and 35 years of business decisions, my own daughter was calling me indecisive because I wouldn't immediately write a $30,000 check. After she left, I poured myself a whiskey and sat in my office thinking. 2 days ago, I would have written that check without hesitation. Hell, I probably would have offered more just to see Sierra happy. But that was before I'd seen Shane with another woman 2 hours before their wedding. That evening, I was heating up leftover dinner when I heard Brooke's voice from upstairs. She was on the phone again, volume turned up like always. Yeah, Dad seems suspicious lately, she was saying. I don't know what's got into him, but he's been acting different. I moved closer to the stairs, staying in the shadows. Don't worry, though, Brooke continued. Colton and I can stretch this another few months easy. By then, Dad'll cave and buy us that condo in Tempe just to get us out of his hair. Another voice came through the speakerphone, Sierra's voice. Perfect timing, then. I've got maybe 2 more months of playing the happy wife, then I file for divorce. Half those wedding gifts are legally mine under Arizona law. Shane's already agreed to the 60-40 split we discussed. My hand found the wall for support. Playing the happy wife, Brooke laughed. This is working out better than we planned. And Shane's little side piece doesn't even know about the exit strategy. She probably thinks he's going to leave Sierra for her. The best part, Sierra said, is Dad's so caught up in being the proud father of the bride he doesn't see any of it coming. Keep him distracted with your housing situation. That way, when I ask for this house down payment, it won't seem excessive by comparison. Already on it. Asked him for spa money last week, and today I mentioned the condo idea. He looked annoyed, but he'll come around. He always does. I backed away from the stairs as quietly as I could, my heart hammering against my ribs, made it to my office and closed the door before my knees gave out. 2 daughters, both lying to me, both using me, one planning a fake divorce to steal wedding money she'd collected through fraud, the other counting down the days until I bought her and her deadbeat boyfriend their own place just to get rid of them. Playing happy wife. Easiest $40,000 I ever made, the words kept echoing in my head. This wasn't family. This was organized crime wearing familiar faces. I opened my laptop and searched for estate planning attorney Phoenix. Time to stop being the easy mark and start protecting what I'd spent 35 years building. The first name that came up was Garrett Thompson. 25 years of experience in asset protection and family law. His office had an opening the next morning at 9 a.m. I made the appointment. Then I sat back in my chair and looked at my closed office door. Beyond it, Brooke was probably still on the phone with Sierra, laughing about their latest manipulation. Both of them comfortable and confident that dear old Dad would keep writing checks until the day he died. They had no idea what was coming. Neither did I exactly. But I knew one thing for certain. I was done being their retirement plan. Thursday morning at 9 a.m., I sat across from Garrett Thompson in his downtown office. 23rd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Phoenix, law books lining the walls. The kind of office that said, serious business. Thompson was about 50, gray at the temples, firm handshake. After I explained the situation and showed him Paige's photos, he leaned back in his chair. Mr. Walsh, in my 25 years of practice, I've seen plenty of family manipulation. But this level of coordination between your daughters, he shook his head. This is calculated fraud. What can I do about it? Several things. First, your younger daughter and her boyfriend have no legal right to your property. No lease, no rental agreement, No ownership stake. We can begin eviction proceedings immediately. Arizona law is very clear on this. He pulled out a thick legal book open to a flagged section. 30 days written notice. If they refuse to leave after that, we file for court-ordered removal. And my assets? Irrevocable trust. We transfer everything, your house, business interests, bank accounts, into professional management. You maintain full control during your lifetime, but after death, distribution follows your exact instructions. Much harder to challenge than a simple will. How hard? Nearly impossible if structured correctly. Your daughters can try to contest it, but irrevocable trusts established while you're mentally competent and acting freely are extremely difficult to overturn. What's this going to cost me? Eviction notices, trust creation, asset transfers, the whole package, $15,000. Considering what you're protecting, it's a bargain. I'd spent $50,000 on a fake wedding and was about to lose $30,000 to a fraudulent house down payment. $15,000 to protect everything I'd built over 35 years seemed like the smartest money I'd ever spend. Do it. Friday afternoon, the eviction notices arrived by courier. Official documents with legal seals. I waited until evening when I could hear Brooke and Colton in the living room planning their next scheme. Microbreweries are huge right now, Colton was saying. Phoenix market's perfect for it. We'd need maybe $40,000 to get started, but your dad would see returns within 2 years. Brooke laughed. He'll go for it. Just frame it as helping family build something together. He's a sucker for that stuff. I walked into the room carrying the envelopes. They looked up, smiling and expectant. Official eviction notice, I said, placing the papers on the coffee table between them. You have 30 days to find other housing. The silence was absolute. Brooke tore open her envelope, face going white as she read. Colton grabbed his copy, scanned the legal language. Have you lost your mind, old man? He stood up, fists clenched. This is our home. You can't just throw us out like we're strangers. This is my house. You've lived here rent-free for 3 years. The notice is legal and final. Brooke's tears started right on schedule. Dad, what are you doing? I'm your daughter. How can you throw me out? You haven't been acting like my daughter. You've been acting like a tenant who doesn't pay rent and doesn't show respect. Colton stepped closer, trying his intimidation routine. Everyone's going to know what kind of father you are, throwing out your own kid. 30 days, I said calmly, and walked back to my office. Behind me, chaos erupted, shouting, crying, accusations. I sat at my desk and listened to their panic with something that felt almost like peace. The next evening, Sierra arrived with Shane for what they called an emergency family meeting. They brought groceries, cooked dinner, set the table with my good plates. A performance of family unity designed to soften me up. Over wine and small talk, Sierra eventually made her move. Dad, this house must be a lot to manage by yourself. All these rooms, the maintenance, the yard work. Have you thought about downsizing? Shane nodded supportively. The real estate market's incredibly strong right now. Houses in Paradise Valley are selling above asking price. There it was. They wanted me to sell the house and split the proceeds. We'd help you find something smaller, more manageable, Sierra continued. A nice condo, maybe. And whatever you got from selling this place, well, it would be wonderful if family could benefit. Help Brooke and Colton get established, help Shane and me with our future. I set down my fork and looked at each of them. 4 faces around my dining table. Sierra with her practiced smile. Shane avoiding eye contact. Brooke wiping away crocodile tears. Colton glaring like, I owed him something. I'm not selling my house. Sierra's laugh had an edge to it. Dad, no one's pressuring you. We're just thinking about what's best for everyone. I reached into my shirt pocket and pulled out a manila envelope. Set it on the table. Before we continue, there's something you should see. Sierra picked it up suspiciously. What is this? Photographs from your wedding. Particularly interesting are the shots of Shane with a red-haired woman 2 hours before the ceremony. Shane's face went gray. Sierra opened the envelope and looked at the first photo. I watched her expression change from confusion to recognition to cold calculation. Where did you get these? I also overheard an interesting conversation between you and Brooke yesterday. Let me quote, 2 more months of playing happy wife, then I file for divorce. Half the gifts are legally mine. Shane already agreed to 60-40 split. Brooke's hand flew to her mouth. Colton half stood, then thought better of it. I've created an irrevocable trust, I continued. My house, business, savings, everything is now protected. When I die, you'll receive the minimum required by Arizona law, not a penny more." Sierra's voice turned sharp. "You can't do this. We're your family." I stood up from my own dining table. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't lie and manipulate. You stopped being family when you started seeing me as nothing but a wallet. The arguing continued for an hour after I left the room, but it didn't matter. The trust was filed, the eviction notices were served, the evidence was documented. 30 days later, Deputy Sullivan and I stood in my driveway watching Brooke and Colton load their belongings into a beat-up sedan. No more threats, no more manipulation. Just the legal system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Now, 6 months later, I sit on my back patio every morning with coffee, watching the sunrise over the desert mountains. The house is quiet except for birds and distant traffic. My house, my peace, my choices. Sierra and Shane divorced as planned, but legal fees ate up most of their stolen wedding money. Brooke and Colton found a small apartment, and somehow Colton actually got a steady job. The trust protects everything I built, and my will reflects my values, not their expectations. Wednesday mornings I have guitar lessons. Fridays I volunteer at the VA, using my construction skills to help fellow veterans with home repairs. Simple routines built around what I want to do, not what someone else demands. My phone sits silent on the patio table. No more manipulation calls, no more schemes disguised as family emergencies. They learned to solve their own problems when my checkbook wasn't available. At 62, I've discovered that the loneliness everyone warned me about feels a lot like freedom. Linda always said I was too honest to get rich quick and too stubborn to quit. She was right about both. The family I thought I was protecting turned out to be the biggest threat to everything I'd worked for. But protecting myself from people who saw me as a resource instead of a person, that wasn't destruction, that was liberation.